Under this pulse, his brow also tightly tightened up. How is this possible? Since the body is all right, why can you be in a coma? Think of here, he raised his hand to open Yin Beiqing's eyelids to have a look. But Imo Shanghua raised his hand to stop him. Hoarse voice, no, nothing can be found. After standing in the air for a long time, Lu finally took it back and said in a low voice, since there is no scar, maybe he will wake up soon. Imo Shanghua shook his head. There was no expression on his beautiful face. You all go out. Others can't see it. But in her eyes, Yin Beiqing's side is also full of black air, which will make people feel uncomfortable when they are close. Yin Sichuan could not see that Imo Shanghua was so depressed, nor could Yin Beiqing look like this. He clenched his fist and said, I'll go to the Zongrenfew to find the second emperor brother. I must ask him what evil things he has practiced. Said, regardless of the personal boy's dissuasion, turned and left. The flowers on the street did not turn back, nor did they make a sound to stop them. They were dead in their hearts. Princess. Qinya knows Imo Shanghua best. Seeing her like this, she knows that he must be so sad that he can't help whispering. All out. Imo Shanghua directly interrupts Qinya's words and repeats what he just said. Qinya wants to say something else. Imo Ling, who has been injured and has not yet been cured, looks at her and indicates with her eyes. Qinya just stopped and went out first with Imo Ling. Call me if you need me, and I'll wait at the door. Lu was whispering after her, and then he turned and went out. When everyone went out, Imo Shanghua moved her dry lips again, and her voice was especially hoarse. Yin Beiqing, what are you doing? Are you trying to tease me again? Yinbei City on the bed had no reaction, still lying quietly. The heart of the flower on the street is filled with bitterness. Xian Chang is as cold as her. At this time, her eyes are especially sour. It seems that as long as you blink, tears will fall directly. But she never allowed herself to be so fragile. She raised her head and forced back the hot tears in her eyes. She said with a helpless and painful smile, You are really bad. I was told to be careful before. I didn't expect that I was plotted against you. You don't miss it. You bury a trap early. Yin Moli steps into the palace and orders Lu Zheng to replace the medicine given by the queen to Baorong Emperor, making him just in a temporary coma. Why didn't you calculate for himself? Imo Shanghua said word by word, although his voice is hoarse, but very gentle. You said before that your mother's wife was framed. The real backstage is Empress Lin, right? You haven't told me personally, Yin Beiqing. Do you know that your revenge has been avenged? Emperor Baorong has been too stimulated and completely ill now. Everything is over. In the future, we can have a long time to play. Why don't you get up and share this joy with us? Unfortunately, no matter what she said, Yin Beiqing was still lying on the bed with her eyes closed, and there was no sign of awakening. Yan Beiqing, Imo Shanghua, put Yin Beiqing's hand on her cheek, and her voice was very light and gentle. Our children are waiting for you to wake up. You must be safe and sound. Between speaking, she blinked. A drop of tears fell on the back of Yin Beiqing's hand. Joaquin Liuna, who came back the latest, was supposed to have a good drink with Yan Beiqing. I didn't think that when I came in, I saw Yin Beiqing in a daze, and the flower on the street was almost desperate. What's going on? Flower Willow, busy, stride to the bed. Habitual smile also closed up, brow tightly locked. South Crane also went to the couch with flowers and willows. Why did the Lord become like this? Imo Shanghua's originally gentle eyes were suddenly covered with a deep layer of cold, expressionless enunciation. There are no scars on the body, and the pulse condition is normal. I can recognize what you see. Although Hua Qianlu didn't know the medical skills, he was dignified when he heard Imo Shanghua say that. Have you seen all of them? But what are the side effects? Imo Shanghua shook his head and clenched Yin Beiqing's hand. I don't know why, but in any case, she will not give up. If Yin Beiqing is so unconscious, she will guard his life as he used to guard her in secret. If something goes wrong, there must be a demon. There must be no sign at all. South Crane is calm, slightly bent over, 2 hands on the shoulder of Imo Shanghua. You calm down, in careful look, maybe there will be something to find. South Crane's words, let the beautiful flowers on the street gently frown. Since Yin Beicheng was in a coma, she was so calm. In fact, her heart had been in chaos. At this time, Nana's words made her thinking ability gradually recover. If we say something unusual, it is the dark air in the chest of Yanbei City. But Hua Qianlu and Nan He couldn't see it either. She was afraid that she was too anxious to read it wrong. But at this time, she was alarmed. Think carefully in the palm of Yanmo Li's hand before, seemed to also linger this breath. Maybe, a possibility surged up in my heart, and the flowers on the street almost stood up and disappeared in a flash. Qingling's voice came from afar. Guard for me. Don't allow anyone to come near. Looking at flowers in the street, Hua, Qianlu, and Nan, he look at each other, and they can see a sigh in each other's eyes. However, they have no plans to love each other at the moment. They conscientiously remember the words of Imo Shanghua and guard Yin Beicheng in the house. When the flowers came out of the palace, they directly asked for a fast horse and drove the horse around the city. At this time, the imperial city was still in the middle of the revolution, so there were no pedestrians on the streets, so they didn't worry about spending money on the streets. They just rushed to Ning Songji's present residence as soon as possible. Better know. As soon as I got to the door, the flower on the street didn't care to tie up the horse, so I went up and patted the door directly. Soon someone opened the door, but it was Shue. She frowned and looked at the flowers on the street with displeasure. In such a hurry, is it not that the defeat has been chased nowhere to go? Imo Shanghua didn't have time to talk with her, so she went directly over her to the hospital. I don't have time to fight with you now. I thought Shue might still be in a dilemma. I didn't think she was just playing with her mouth. She didn't dare to stop her when she really went in. Ning knows in the courtyard to know, just at this time pace, but come out. Also just a faint smile to go up the Mo Shang flower. I know your intention, go. So, he's really a clever one. Mo Shanghua wants to think more about the future and immediately turns sharp. Ning knows that she will follow. She was so anxious that she didn't want to delay at all, but there was only one horse. She simply gave the horse to Ning Tongji, but she mobilized her internal power and directly carried the lightness skill, Jiqia, back. Soon came to the palace. Missouri Shanghua pushed open the door, pulled Ning Tongji over, did not care to wipe the sweat on his forehead, panted and asked, I only asked, can you see it? While speaking, one hand pointed directly at Yin Beicheng's chest. The flower willow on one side has not recovered from the speed of flowers on the street, but also heard her so inexplicably come, more confused. What can you see but can't see? However, no one answered him. Rather, No even did not look at the direction of flowers on the road, then gently nodded, see. There was a doubt in the eyes of flowers on the street. He went forward and pulled Yin Beicheng's skirt open. Just when his fingertips met the black air, it was as if he had been burned by something. His fingertips were stinging and burning, but there was no scar when he raised his hand. Rather, no brow, this just slightly wrinkled a few minutes. Low voice exhort, you can't touch this thing. Why? What the hell is this? I just feel so stingy, so what should he do? Is it life-threatening? Imo Shanghua took back her hand in her heart. Xiaomei wrinkled her eyes tightly. Her worry became more and more intense. A series of questions could not dispel her confusion and anxiety. One side of the flower willow and South Crane is to see the fog. Listen to the meaning of flowers on the street, is that there seems to be something in Yin Beicheng's chest, which can be seen from their sight. It is clear that there is nothing. What are they talking about? Looking at Hua, Qianlu still want to open his mouth. Then he raised his hand and twisted it around his waist, then glared at him. Let's go out first and wait outside the room. The house was so quiet that Hua Qianlu had to endure the pain. She didn't dare to go out with Nan He. Lu Zheng is also waiting outside. He sees them smiling politely, and then he sits aside. At that time, Ning Tongji put his hand over an inch of Yin Beicheng's chest and explained King Ling was interested in some of the Wuxian's techniques before, so he ordered people to watch me all the time. I simply gave him a book of the cultivation of immortals at will. As he said this, the palm of his hand, which covered Yin Beiqing's chest, gave out a light white light. The art of cultivating immortals was just bought by me at the market. I didn't expect that he believed it. I didn't know how to do it, and he developed some evil spirit. With his words, the light in the palm of his hand flourished. In a moment, he scattered the black qi everywhere. If he had vitality, he wanted to escape. However, the white light in Ning's hand seemed to have some attraction. It soon spread and wrapped the black qi in it, so that there was no escape for the black qi. Mo Shanghua has always known that the world may not be as simple as she imagined, but she never thought that such a spell actually exists. More than that, what's more shocking is that Yin Beiqing was hurt by the evil spirit. Think of here, Mo Shanghua's heart seems to be tightly grasped by a big hand. This evil spirit should be some evil things. If so, what kind of damage will it do to his body? Ning didn't answer. At this time, he had reached the key point. He suddenly turned his palm over. The originally scattered evil qi was wrapped up in something. Seeing that all these evil qi had been controlled by Ning Tongji, he suddenly turned his palm over again and put it directly on Yin Beiqing's chest. Ning knew that when he took back his hand, the strong, evil spirit suddenly disappeared into his chest, and there was no trace. Mo Shanghua's heart suddenly jumps. Her hands eagerly touch Yin Beiqing's chest, but she can't see a trace of black gas. Her eyes are congested, and she turns her head anxiously. Isn't that evil gas? What are you doing? In the face of emotion, cannot be so excited on the flowers. Rather no, just a faint smile. You don't have to worry. These for him is not a bad thing. Mo Shanghua looks back at Yin Beiqing's face, eager to confirm whether Ning Tongji's words are true or false. However, the red birthmark on his face, which was controlled by drugs all the year round, suddenly disappeared at this time. A pretty face of a beautiful monster was no longer exposed in front of people. In a coma, Yin Beiqing seemed to have some consciousness. His soared eyebrows frowned slightly, and his consciousness groped on the bed. Mo Shanghua sensed Su show up, and he held it tightly in an instant. Rao is so, that pair of deep eyes, but still no sign to open. What's going on? Feel the back of the hand in the hot heat. Mo Shanghua, heart anxiety almost burst out of the chest, really can't control the question again. Ning knows that he is standing beside his bed, dressed in white and with a faint smile on his lips. It seems that everything in the world can't escape from his eyes, just like a real expert. Mo Shanghua's eyes narrowed gradually, trying to restrain the panic caused by Yin Beiqing. What's your real purpose? I don't know why. She always has a premonition in her heart that this person seems to have seen through everything in the world and calculated everything. Even these days, she has seen everything in her eyes. Ning knew that he didn't seem to be surprised by the hostility of Mo Shanghua. With a slight smile, he said, "Everything in the world has its own destiny, but it's not uncommon to calculate the number of days. My real purpose is that you will know one day. In a word, I have no malice to you." After a pause, he added, "These evil qi are absorbed by him, which may be fatal for you, but it may not be a bad thing for him. Within 3 days, he will wake up. You don't have to panic about any changes that have taken place in him. After 3 days, he will be all right." After an explanation, he didn't stop and turn to leave. "Everything has cause and effect. You should take care of it. It's time for me to go back to the Wuxing clan." Everything has cause and effect. Mo Shanghua whispers this sentence repeatedly in her heart. It seems that there is a flash in her heart. She suddenly stands up, but because Yin Beiqing is holding her hand tightly, she can't leave, so she can only shout in a hurry, "Wait!" S voice dropped, and Nin's familiar figure vanished like foam, with no trace. Such a shocking picture. Let me spend a long time back to God. Mean? What does mean? For a long time, the flowers on the street were beautiful and wrinkled tightly. I was surprised and suspicious. She suddenly remembered that she had been given the box by Ning Tongji, and she wanted to open it. But Yin Beiqing, who was in a coma, did not know where the strength came from, and held her tightly. Mo Shanghua had to do it again. She looked down at Yin Beiqing's evil face and could not help raising her hand to caress his face with birthmark. It's hot to start with. In the exploration forehead is also the same hot, even with her hand tightly clasped together are so hot. Mo Shanghua subconsciously felt Yin Beiqing's pulse with his empty right hand. Such a hot temperature, but the pulse is still normal. However, Yin Beiqing seemed to be a little uncomfortable. His brows tightened more and more tightly, and fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Mo Shanghua clenched Yin Beiqing's hand and put his cheek on his chest. It was really hot. I'll wait for you and protect you. Yinbei City in front of her is enough to let Mo Shanghua put all her thoughts into it. She simply doesn't think about anything else and closes her eyes slightly. Simply, the hot body temperature and strong heartbeat all remind her that Yin Beiqing is safe and sound. He is just sleeping temporarily. In the Zhongrenfu, Yin Moli almost lost his mind in yesterday's World War I. Yin Sinchuan came to question angrily. Naturally, there was no result. On the contrary, as soon as he left the Zhongrenfu, he was called by Baorong Emperor. No one came to visit, and the jailers naturally drank wine in groups. There was no one else in the prison, and Yin Mo's crazy look slowly faded away. In the eagle's eyes, which were covered by disorderly hair, there flashed a strong and almost real evil. Yinbei City, I didn't lose. One day, I will take your life personally. The voice, almost squeezed out of his teeth, came out of his mouth. As soon as he had said this, he sat cross-legged, closed his eyes again, put his hands on his knees, and recited a mental method in his heart. After reading Ning Tsong Zigiai's book, he combined some key points of internal skill and learned that mental skill by himself, but he didn't want to be so easy to use. If the only regret is that so far he has only successfully used it yesterday, and some of it was not controlled. However, these are no harm. He believes that with his talent, if he reaches a certain level of cultivation, he will be free to control. I don't know that the book was just given by Ning Tongji. He had lived in the palace since he was a child. It was very secret. He didn't tell anyone about it, so he didn't think it was just written by a folk warlock. At this time, Ning Tongji appeared out of thin air and looked at Yin Moli, who was practicing. The prison of the Zomer Mansion was also a prison. Countless people died here. Naturally, the evil spirit was much stronger than usual. Therefore, in a moment, the evil spirit had been running slowly in Yin Moli's palm. It's something that shouldn't be here. Yin Moli is indeed an anomaly. Ning knew that his face was not indifferent. He looked at it for a while without expression. He suddenly raised his hand and waved it. A more intense white light flew straight towards Yin Mo than when he was curing Yinbei City. The evil spirit that haunted Yin Mo Li's whole body was instantly dispersed, and there was no sign to exist. Yin Moli covered his chest and fell heavily on the ground. A smell of fishy and sweet came from his mouth, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "It's you." Yin Mo Li Qiang sat up and felt that there was just some evil qi in the Dantian, but he couldn't even feel it. "You really know magic." However, this spell seems to be different from what he knows. It seems to be extremely holy. Ning knows to drop the MOU to sweep him one eye. The Mao inside has no a silk emotion. If see a more common mole, ant, general, these things shouldn't appear here. I just come to take back. What do you mean? Yin Moli endured chest pain. Eyes flashed a touch of incredible. Ning knew but didn't explain. His figure disappeared directly in front of Yin Moli, which shocked him. He thought that if he had only found some ways, he could seriously injure Yin Beiqing. It can be seen that Ning Tongji's magic skills are so advanced. But what does he mean by what he just said? What do you mean? An idea loomed in Yin Mo Li's heart. At the moment, he couldn't care about the pain in his chest. He struggled to get up and concentrate on practice. However, no matter how much he concentrated on practicing, the elixir field was still empty, and the sense of mystery that just rose no longer existed. In his heart, he was really unwilling. He tried several more times, but still had no reaction at all. Even I can't feel the breath of internal power. I will kill you. Kill you. Yin Mo's eyes were full of blood, and his spirit collapsed again. Originally, he still had the idea of dormancy in his heart, but at this time, there was no chance at all. It's all over. He has lost completely and will never turn over. Thinking of this, Yin Moli was even more annoyed. He raised his hand and hit the wall again and again. He didn't know the pain. He murmured, "I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you." However, it was all in vain. For 3 days, Mo Shanghua stayed by Yin Beiqing day and night. Even when he had a rest at night, he simply laid down beside him and fell asleep with him and never left for a moment. She had a little life in her belly, so she was very concerned about her body. Besides always staying by Yin Beiqing's side, she didn't miss eating and resting. Zhao Wei reported that Prince Lian's 20,000 imperial guards were at the foot of the city, and a young general wanted to see Yin Beiqing. Yin Beiqing is still in a coma, and Mo Shanghua hasn't seen the general without permission. He only asked Zhao Wei to report the matter to Emperor Baorong of Ming Dynasty. Then he observed the vision of the imperial city a few days ago, and a soldier Fong Langyin had to appear here. In fact, it was Yin Beiqing who ordered people to go there to prevent General Chun from leaving behind and fighting back afterwards. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly, so he didn't need it. Baorong Emperor also quickly made a decree, leaving 10,000 forbidden troops to fill the vacancy, and the remaining 10,000 went back to guard without any punishment to the prince. At that time, Mo Shanghua was taking a wet handkerchief to help Yin Beiqing wipe his forehead. Qinya, as before, stood behind Mo Shanghua and said to her about the trend of the imperial city in recent days. "Princess, guess who is the young general who entered the forbidden camp alone?" Mo flowered, gently picked eyebrows. Hand's action did not stop. "Who is it?" "It's General Mo Jiang Mo. It said that he's still Prince Lian, and that's how he can get his talisman." Speaking of this, Qinya's eyes were all shining. "There's one more thing. I'd like to thank you, concubine Wang." Mo Shanghua had known what Qinya said for a long time. Seeing her so excited, she was surprised. Mo Jiang is thousands of miles away in Yuzhou, but he still has such a relationship with Prince Lian. In the past, he really couldn't see anything. "But what do you owe me?" Qinya turns to open the door with a smile. A man dressed in armor and covered with wind and dust came in quickly, put on, knelt down straight in front of the flowers on the street. "I've seen the princess." Then he knocked his head on the ground. Mo Shanghua. The kowtow is so fast that she can't see who it is. However, the familiar voice, as well as Qinya's curved eyebrows and smiling lips, she also instantly knew. "Get up first." Mo Shanghua puts the handkerchief aside for the time being and gets up to help Qinlin in person. Qinlin was flattered by the strength of Mo Shanghua, with a full smile on his resolute dark cheek. Over the past few months, he has changed a lot. Not only has he lost all his servant appearance, but he has some light black stubble on his chin, which makes him look more manly. Qinya was very happy when she saw her brother's transformation. She gave a salute to Hua Fushin and said, "My brother is now the vanguard of General Mo. He depends on the princess for his success. I want to thank her here." Yin Beiqing has been in a coma for 3 days. In these 3 days, Mo Shanghua's mood has calmed down a lot. It's not that he can't see the smiling faces of his brother and sister, and he is happy for Qinlin. Mo Shanghua raised her hand and patted Qinlin on the shoulder. Her hands were full of the touch of iron armor. "It's good to be able to jump from a recruit to the vanguard position in just a few months. Qinlin, you really didn't let me down." Although his temperament and identity changed, Qinlin habitually touched the back of his head with a simple and honest smile. In fact, it's just a slave with good luck. He sneaked into northern Xinjiang with the general before and quietly burned General Nalin's grain and grass. Fortunately, he didn't die. Only in this way can he become a pioneer. Qinya immediately jumped in front of Qinlin, and her face was full of pride. "If you hadn't been brave and resourceful, you wouldn't have been so. Brother, don't be modest." Qinlin was really embarrassed by Qinya's words. A blush appeared on his dark face. He scratched his back and didn't know how to refute. But the more Chinya saw, the more she felt that her elder brother was wearing armor. She couldn't help raising her hand and touching his armor. She sighed, "It's heavy to see. It's amazing that my elder brother can wear it every day." Just then, Imo Ling's voice sounded out of the door at this time. "Tell Princess, I have something to report to you. Just come in." Chinya has not yet opened the door. Imo Shanghua has directly ordered. These days, Yin Beicheng is in a coma. No matter Imo Ling or Nan He, they spontaneously hand over Yin Beicheng's affairs to Imo Shanghua. However, after entering the house, he looked at Chinya for the first time. At this glance, a strange color flashed across his face. He forced himself to turn his head and salute in front of the flowers on the street. "I've seen the princess." Imo Shanghua put Imo Ling's look into her eyes, but she only said, "That's Chinya's brother, not an outsider. You can say something directly." Imo Lingmu's strangeness disappeared a little and said, "Princess, all the corpses in the palace have been disposed of, and the brothers who should be buried have been buried. But the palace is seriously damaged, and it will take at least 1 month to repair. At present, only 2 bedrooms can be set aside for you to live in the Lord." Imo Shanghua nodded slightly. "This matter is not urgent. Wait for your lord to wake up, and then discuss. My subordinates are leaving." Imo Ling has always been a little talkative. Now that the report is finished, he is ready to leave. As she turned around, her eyes swept around Chinya's delicate face uncontrollably. Then she looked away and walked out without squinting. Chinya was also quite strange. She looked at Qin Lin and said, "Brother, I suddenly remember that there are still some things I haven't done. You have nothing to do in the army these days. I'll come back to you later." Then he ran away with his skirt. But a moment later, she heard her voice outside the door. "Brother Mo, wait for me." Chinya frowns at the half-open door, which Chinya forgot to close when she just went out. "Princess sister, is she with?" Qin Lin hesitated for a long time, or can't help asking, but just said half. He can't say the following words. Seeing Qin Lin's broken heart for his sister, Imo Shanghua was amused. "I seldom go out these days, and I don't know some things. What's more, Chinya's business should be watched by your elder brother." Qin Lin immediately understood something in his heart. He made a hasty salute to the flower on the street, and then he hurriedly retreated. "I have something else to do, so I'll leave first." Then he left in a hurry. When he went out, he forgot to close the door like Chinya. It's really brother and sister. Imo Shanghua's mood was a little better after 3 days of haze. He slowly stepped forward to close the door, and then simply leaned on the wooden door. His eyes fell on Yin Beicheng, who was still lying on the bed. The hot temperature of his body had gone down, but there was no change in his face. He was still in a daze. However, his face that suddenly disappeared birthmark, it was not found. After all, his birthmark was born on his right face, and when he lay down, others could only see his left cheek. Except for the flowers on the street, no one came near him, and naturally no one could see him. "Yin Beicheng, you should wake up soon, right? When you wake up, let's deal with some of the last things here, and then go around to play, okay? In fact, I haven't seen the kingdom of God." Imo Shanghua leans against the door and looks at Yin Beicheng's handsome face from a distance. Her lips are gently tilted and curved, as if she has seen many things after he wakes up. What she thought in her heart was all the happiness in the future. However, she was just a habitual soliloquy and did not expect Yin Beicheng to wake up immediately. "Good," a deep, hoarse voice suddenly sounded slowly. Imo Shanghua is like being struck by lightning. She looks at the moment and wakes up. She turns her head and looks at her Yinbei city. For 3 days, Imo Shanghua was used to talking to herself. I didn't expect that Yin Beicheng could respond to her at this time. Yin Beicheng just woke up, but he didn't have much strength, but he still sat up and leaned on the soft pillow. He pulled out a gentle smile from the corner of his lip. "How are you, stupid?" Imo Shanghua completely recovered and almost immediately ran from the door to the bedside. "Yin Beicheng, are you really awake? I'm not dreaming?" Mo Shanghua has some unbelievable hands caressing Yin Beiqing's face. Her cool touch makes her feel very unreal, but she feels very down to earth. You wake up at last. Murmur a sound in the flower mouth on the street, and then directly rush to Yin Beiqing's arms. Yin Beiqing just woke up, and he had no strength. With this fierce rush, he almost couldn't hold on and fell on the bed. In the end, however, it was supported by a soft pillow. A familiar faint fragrance came from his nose. Yin Beiqing gently stroked the black hair of the flowers on the street and said in a hoarse voice, "Naturally, I'm really awake. I'm really in front of you." Mo Shanghua hugs Yin Beiqing tightly. Her eyes are hot and her nose is sour. In order not to let his tears flow out, but hold for a while, Mo Shanghua released Yin Beiqing, slightly raised his head, deliberately not to see Yin Beiqing. As the old saying goes, one day is like 3 autumn. Yin Beiqing coma these days. Mo Shanghua seems nothing, but the heart felt more difficult than the 3 autumn. "How are you? Do you have any discomfort?" Bear the sour and astringent eyes, the flowers on the street. The light of the eyes is looking at Yinbei City. The light of the eyes is especially soft. Yin Beiqing a heart suddenly soft down. Smell speech also just gently shake head. Lip cape immediately stir up a smile. "I'm naturally very good. You just don't worry." Then he raised his hand and hammered it on his chest as if he didn't believe it. As expected, his face was as usual. In order to make her feel at ease, he thought about it, and then he would hammer it twice again. Mo Shanghua grabs his hand and looks at his eyes like anger and resentment. "It's hard to wake up. Do you want to spoil yourself like this?" Yin North City also don't speak, just looking at Mo Shanghua smile lightly. After waking up this time, she looked at the flowers on the street more sentimentally than before. Her eyes swept inch by inch from her slightly haggard face, as if she were looking at something precious. For a long time, she held her hand without saying a word. "I'll never let you go." Mo Shanghua did not listen to the truth. Full of joy, also did not pursue more, a hand gently stroking his belly, said with a smile, "I have this little guy, are looking forward to you wake up." What little thing?" Yin North City Lung Lung. Mo Shanghua this sudden word surprise not light. Even some reaction not come over. Mo Shanghua's smile is deeper, and her eyebrows and eyes are more gentle. "She has been 2 months now. I didn't tell you before that I was afraid of your distraction. Now everything has been settled. Naturally, it's time for you to be afraid of her and look forward to happiness for her." Even in Chinya's place, she had given a death order before. She could never reveal a word to Yin Beiqing for fear of distracting him. Yin Beiqing was stunned for a long time, but he didn't come back for a long time. For a long time, his pupil turned gently, and then a huge surprise flashed out his lips. He seemed to have the strength in an instant. Yigala got up from the bed. His hands were close to the belly of the flower in the street carefully. When he was about to meet her, he didn't know why he drew back. He looked up at her with a pair of phoenix eyes. "Is it true?" Mo flower lips gently raised. "Nature is true. She will lie here. After 8 months, will quack to the ground." Yin Beiqing was almost dazzled by this huge surprise. His hands wandered in front of Mo Shanghua's stomach for a long time, but he didn't dare to touch it. He just grasped Mo Shanghua's hand, and some commissar said wrongly, "Emoer, I dare not touch it." Mo Shanghua was amused by his appearance, and looked at him with curved eyebrows. "Yin Beiqing, what's your prestige 3 days ago? Why don't you even dare to touch it now?" Yin North City only clenched the hand of Mo Shanghua. "He just 2 months, and your belly should not be formed. I'm afraid I rashly start, will move the fetus." "Touch it, and you'll move the fetal chi? You are really..." Mo Shanghua couldn't help laughing. The more she looked at Yin Beiqing, the more lovely she felt. Yin Beiqing, however, was still upright. He turned his lips and said, "My child is not afraid to say that he is weak, but if he wants 10,000, what if there is a good or bad thing?" Then, he didn't know what he thought of. He suddenly stood up straight and put his boots on his feet. "It's a great joy. I'm going to tell the world. Seeing this, Imo Shanghua quickly dragged him back. He was angry and funny and looked at him. Tell the world what, when you are already in the dragon chair. Besides, she smiles a little and points to his cheek. The things on your face have not been painted yet. When Yin Beicheng heard the speech, he subconsciously touched his cheek over there. Naturally, he soon felt that it was wrong, and his eyebrows tightened up. Because of the medication, the skin on his face was always coarser than that on other places. At the moment, the familiar feeling didn't come, but it was greasy. Yin Beicheng found a copper basin in the room, fished out the wet handkerchief, and took it as a mirror. Sure enough, as Imo Shanghua said, it disappeared even without a trace. His soared eyebrow immediately tightly screwed up, eyes color dignified. If this thing doesn't use a separate medicine, it can't disappear naturally, Imo, or what happened? Talking about this matter, Imo Shanghua's smile also subsided. He repeated all the things of that day and said, after that, you were boiling hot all over again. It lasted all night, and it faded the next day. Yin Beicheng felt the medicine from his body and dropped a few drops on his face. In the past, as soon as he touched the skin, he would immediately feel like the red medicine sticking on it. Now, like the smooth oil, it flowed down his cheek again. He wiped it lightly with his hand, and there was still no trace on his skin. Imo Shanghua also felt strange. She took the medicine from Yin Beicheng and dropped a drop on her arm. The red potion immediately coagulated on her white arm and looked like a drop of red mole. This time, not only Yin Beicheng, but also Imo Shanghua was puzzled. However, when she thought of Ning's words before she left, she had some opinions in her heart. Maybe it's true. As Ning said, everything has a reason. Yin Beicheng was able to absorb the evil qi. After waking up, there was nothing different except that the potion could not be used on his face. Maybe there's something in between. Thinking of this, he was a little relieved. He raised his hand and grasped his hand. He said with a smile, everything in the world has a definite number. This may be a good thing that you don't have to appear in the future with that ugly appearance. Yin North City slightly hook-lip a smile. Also not tangle this matter. I hope so. However, his deep eyes like endless, but very quickly across a faint light. In an instant, there is no trace. Since then, Emperor Baorong has not been in court for half a month. In this half month, Emperor Baorong simply handed over the responsibility of supervising the country to Yin Sichuan. Yin Sichuan is not willing to take this job in his heart, but since things have come to this point, he can't refuse it anymore. As for the rest of the prince and others, the original marriage date was extended again, which also made Princess Chun and other concubines worried all day. Fortunately, with the delay of the wedding, Baorong Emperor finally granted the princes their respective kings. However, only Yin Sichuan, who has been entrusted with the important task, has been unable to become the king for a long time. All the ministers have understood the intention. Therefore, those who have not yet stood in line have also stood in line, but only Liu Bohen, the prime minister, has not stood in line. On the other hand, since Yin Beicheng woke up, the couple moved away from the 13th prince's mansion, but did not return to the palace. Instead, they chose a very quiet house. Yinbei City is not going to court every day. Every few days, he has to find a reason not to go to court and stay in a mansion with the flowers on the street. As for Baorong Emperor and the Empress Dowager, every day he seems to be a routine. After a visit the other day, he doesn't care much. As for the missing birthmark on his face, he didn't bother to cover it up. When someone asked, he said that he had been blessed by the national teacher and helped him erase it. Empress Lin hanged herself after 10 days in the imperial palace. Yin Moli is still in prison. Her old feud has already been avenged. If you go to dig up the old accounts and thoroughly investigate the incident of that year, I'm afraid there won't be so many things to spend with her. As for the identity of the national teacher, he went to travel all over the world as the national teacher to seek the way to prolong the life of Baorong Emperor. Now the house is quite elegant and secluded. It would be nice to be a place to cultivate and recuperate. The servants are all selected by Nanha. There are not many people selected, but they are all competent and no one else's work. Yin Beicheng and Mo Shanghua had a very comfortable half-month. Mo taste the sour plum soup and the green plum. If it's not enough, I'm going to Linchang to get some for you. Yin Beicheng personally served a bowl of sour plum soup and handed it to Mo Shanghua. Then he continued to hand over the green plum and opened his mouth with a smile. Mo Shanghua took sour plum soup with a smile and took a sip of it. It doesn't seem that Qinya made it. Yin Beicheng's eyebrows and eyes suddenly flew a little proud. If he had a tail, he would have gone up to the sky. It's natural. It's for my husband to cook for you. Seeing this, Mo Shanghua put sour plum soup in front of him and said, "No wonder the taste is so strange. You have to taste it yourself." When Yin Beicheng saw this, he didn't believe it. He drank half a bowl of sour plum soup at one go. As soon as he was about to boast, his face became strange and he couldn't say a word. The flower on the street saw this, couldn't help but cover lip to smile away. How? Yin Beicheng quietly put away his proud look and gathered the sour plum soup in his own direction. He never mentioned that it was made by himself. He pointed to the green plum and said, "This is what I picked from lynching early in the morning. I don't believe it's not to your taste." However, in view of what happened just now, he picked up one and tasted it himself. It's really a famous green plum. It's really sour and astringent. Yin Beicheng's handsome face is almost distorted. The flower on the street, Poof Chi, came out with a smile, and the tears that covered her stomach almost squeezed out. Yin Beicheng just chewed a mouthful, and then he couldn't bear it. He forced himself to swallow it, and then he looked at the flower with a bitter face. "Mo, I've tasted it for you. It's really sour and acerbic. It should suit your appetite." "Who told you I was sour?" Mo Shanghua's fetuses are nearly 3 months old, and she is still in good spirits. "You want Qinya to make sour plum soup for you every day. Is it sour?" Yin Beicheng was puzzled. Unfortunately, Qinya is not here at this time. If not, he will ask Qinya directly. One side has always, and in the heart's sigh, if Qinya is not here today, he will not volunteer to cook flowers for me. Mo Shanghua lies back on the beauty couch again. Wenyin just lazily raises her eyebrows and says, You didn't ask me to drink those tonic soup every day a while ago. I'm very tired of it. This sour plum soup is refreshing and delicious. I naturally like it." After a pause, she took her lips and gave a smile. She used to caress her belly. "However, I like spicy things a bit." Yin North City handsome face just collapsed down, smell speech, eyes bright again. "You mean maybe a daughter?" Said, "Gather up to want to personally across the belly of Mo Shanghua to listen to." Mo Shanghua push him away some, face black line. "Now less than 3 months, how can you see men and women? Both men and women, I will cherish it as a treasure." Yin Beicheng's face remained unchanged, and his face was solemn. Mo Shanghua then laughed again, especially warm in her heart. "However, I hope to be a daughter. I don't know why. I just like my daughter." She only remembered part of the things in her dream, and after thinking about them for a long time, she still knew little about them. Ning knows that the box she sent still can't be opened, and she is not entangled. She takes it out of the palace and locks it in the box. The dream never happened again, and the scene in the dream seems to fade away. However, these are no longer important. In her heart, she had already thought that what should happen could never escape, and she had to let it go. The most important thing now is to enjoy the present. In this world where men are superior and women are inferior, Yin Beicheng is an alien. It is enough to hold him in the palm of your hand, treasure her, and love her. What she is most looking forward to now is this little life. If she is a daughter, she must be lovely. Yin Beicheng clenched the hand of Mo Shanghua. 10 fingers clasped, the other hand gently stroked her abdomen, full of face doting. Amor said it was her daughter. "The daughter over there is good, little guy. You have to listen your mother like her daughter. If she is born a bastard, it's better to educate you as a father." Mo Xianghua smiles and pats his hand. Nonsense. Yin Beiqing's smile did not decrease, and his eyes on the flowers were gentle to the extreme. I don't talk nonsense. Your wish is my wish. Mo Xianghua stands up with a smile and leans in his arms, holding her fingers tightly. At the moment, their hearts seem to be filled with something, and their happiness is beyond words. In the outer courtyard at this time, Qinya took the cake made by herself and walked briskly towards Mo Ling. Brother Mo, wait for me. Mo Ling was dressed in a black and skillful military uniform, holding a long sword in his hand. When he heard Qinya's voice, he stopped and turned around. There was a slight emotional fluctuation on his wooden and expressionless face. Qinya is happy in her heart. She's about to step forward, but her arm is suddenly stopped by Qin Lin, who comes out of nowhere. After entering the barracks, Qin Lin had a lot of strength, and now Qin, you couldn't step out. Brother, why do you have time to come back today? Don't you still need to practice in the army? Qinya looks back at Qin Lin in surprise. At present, the Imperial Guards are reorganized, and Mo Zhang's identity as the adopted son of Prince Lian is not hidden. So Yin Sinchuan wants him to stay in the capital temporarily, reorganize the Imperial Guards, and recruit some new recruits, by the way. Qin Lin, as a pioneer, is directly appointed as a coach. You should be in a barracks now. My brother cares about you, so he comes back to see you. Qin Lin quickly glanced at Mo Ling, who was less than 3 meters away, with a resolute face and a serious mouth. Qinya took a look at Qin Lin and Mo Ling. She pulled out her hand decisively. Brother, wait for me. I'll give his cake to Brother Mo and come back right away. Not far away, Mo Ling will listen to Qinya's words clearly, lips slightly raised, a very shallow radiant. Step over. Qinya bit her lower lip and gently laughed. She was about to come forward with her food box. However, Qin Lin pulled her directly behind him this time. Qin Linsheng is very strong and directly blocks Qinya's whole life behind him. The joy that just surged up is almost extinguished. Brother, what are you doing? My brother has something very important to tell you. Go with him first. Qin Lin's eyes flashed, took the food box in Qinya's hand, turned around and threw it to Mo Ling without expression, and then pulled Qinya away. Mo Ling holds the food box in both hands and looks at Qin Lin and Qinya's back. The whole person is completely confused on the spot. The wood-like expressionless face is finally split with a hint of consternation. Qinya also turns back frequently, but she can't resist her elder brother, so she can only look away with Mo Ling. How can my brother protect his sister like this? Mo Ling is holding the food box in his hand, and he is quite depressed. Crane, when shall we get married? As soon as Nanha had practiced his sword and had a rest, Qianlu came over. Nanha just swallowed the tea in his mouth, and all of it was taken down by Hua Qian's elegant face. Hua Qianlu wiped the water stains on her face, and the light in her eyes didn't disappear at all. Baorong Emperor is like today's lingering sickbed. So is the Empress Dowager. If we don't hurry up, it will be 3 years before we want to get married. During the period of national mourning, any marriage or funeral among the people should be shelved. At the thought of this, Hua Qianlu was upset and continued. If we catch up with Emperor Baorong and the Empress Dowager and die together, won't our marriage be extended for a longer time? Crane, we must get married soon. South Crane will be shocked down in the heart, poured a cup of tea for himself again, without squinting the mouth. So, then 3 years later in the discussion, Flower Thousand Willow, a handsome face, suddenly collapsed. This how can? Nanha picked up the Tibetan sword that had just been placed on the table. The sword god reflected the cold light in the sunlight, but she was used to it. She took it in her hand and played with it gently. The corner of her eye glanced at Huiqian Liu. When your martial arts can catch up with me, I will promise you. The cold light reflected on Nana's cheek. Huiqian Liu silently swallowed his saliva, stood up, and walked back. I thought about it. In fact, it doesn't matter whether I get married or not. As long as you and my heart are together, it's okay. There are still some things to deal with in the pavilion, so I'll go back first. As soon as the words fell, The sword in the hand of Nan he stood in front of his chest. The things in the pavilion are taken care of every day. What else do you want to do? Flower Willow quickly changed face, flattering smile. Yes, yes, I forgot. Nan he is arrogant and can't rub a grain of sand seriously. Therefore, Hua Qianlu has long been eager to find the best person in the building to take care of the affairs in Qinghuan. He only needs to visit the building twice a month. He can't stay in the building anymore. In the eyes of the South Crane, a satisfied look appeared. The delicate jaw was raised gently. Then I will practice sword with you. This can't be used. Hua Qianlu immediately shook her head like a rattle, but Nan he couldn't help breaking up and attack directly. Hua Qianlu had no choice but to resist. However, although his kung fu was not weak, he was not as good as Nanha, and soon he was defeated. Hua Qianlu struggled to resist the fierce attack of the South Crane, while wailing constantly in his heart. How did Yin Beiqing practice such evil? He didn't mean to let it go. He did. He couldn't beat it. Everything is thriving, only in the palace at this time. Yin Sinshuan now has to live in the palace again. Baorong Emperor was seriously ill. He went to read the memorial every day, and then he had to read it for him. Today, he was very busy until late at night. Originally, his agreement with Yan Beiqing was to only help Yan Beiqing in the imperial court. Yan Beiqing was responsible for the throne, but in the end, everything was going too fast. He didn't have time to help, so it was a foregone conclusion. Until recently, he just knew that Yin Beiqing didn't want the throne from the beginning. Mo Shanghua once thought so, but her longing for Yin Beiqing was also heard. In addition, he hated and rejected the royal family. From the beginning, he just wanted revenge, just wanted Baorong Emperor to regret. Third prince and others are not enough. Yin Sinshuan Heart is more unwilling, or had to accept the appointment of Baorong Emperor. Your Highness, it's time to rest. An internal servant came forward at this time and gently reminded him. I see. Yin Sinshuan rubbed his temple a little tired and stood up. Just walked a footstep, suddenly feels some head heavy, then the whole person will not be controlled. A head fell to the ground. Your Highness, Your Highness. The internal servant was shocked and turned pale. Imperial Doctor, please come to see the Imperial Doctor. Prince and Princess, the 13th prince fell ill last night. Today, the royal doctor went to treat him. He said that he had made the old disease again. One dark guard told the news from the palace today. Mo Shanghua and Yin Beiqing looked at each other and frowned tightly. Yin North City, sword, eyebrow, tight CU, asked the most important question. What's the situation in the palace? The ministers headed by Lu Xiang are kneeling outside the Yangxin Hall, asking His Majesty to reconsider the candidates for the reserve. The Dark Way says truthfully, the flower eyebrows on the street are beating. I'm afraid things are developing in an uncontrollable direction. I immediately ask, which prince did the ministers recommend? To the princess, all the ministers recommend the Lord. Dark Way slightly paused for a while, just Wei. Yin Beiqing has thoroughly proved his ability in the case of Yin Moli. The rest of the princes have been suppressed by Yin Moli for many years, and they have not become the best candidates at all. Mo Shanghua's premonition suddenly came true. Her red lips pursed slightly, and her heart filled with an unspeakable emotion. You go down first. Yin North City orders that person to go down. Turn round to spin tight frown on the Mo to smooth, but in the heart not happy. Mo Shanghua did not open her mouth, but the tight corners of her lips showed her unhappiness in her heart. Everything had settled down. Originally, they should have lived a stable life now, but they still had sudden changes. Yin Beiqing was also a little unhappy, but he still habitually hid his emotions in his heart and held the hand of Mo Shanghua tightly. Don't worry, I won't do what they want. Now, I just want to live a stable and peaceful life with you. Mo Shanghua's uneasy heart was calm. She looked down at her belly and said in a soft voice, I just don't want our children to live in such a bloody environment from their urine. After a pause, she said, it's more selfish. If you sit in that position, you can't help doing a lot of things. I didn't care if there were women in your mansion in the past, but now, I just want to occupy you alone. Yin Beiqing smiles and gently pinches her nose. Her eyes are full of spoiling color. You can rest assured that you will be the only woman in my life. The frowning brow of the flower on the street stretched out. Then how do you plan to deal with those ministers? I think I should go to see Yin Xuan now. Yin Beiqing's smile faded, and his face became calm. I'm with you. Mo Shanghua immediately replied, and was afraid that Yin Beiqing would not agree. He explained, I have medical skills, and I can help when I go. Besides, I don't take medicine for myself. It doesn't have any effect on my children. You can rest assured. Yin North City refused words haven't had time to say. Mo Shanghua has found so many reasons. He naturally can't refuse, can only helplessly promise down. Heart is more firm, sure to take her in this life smooth and happy. Your Highness took the medicine that hurt his health all the year round in the early years, and his health has been damaged. Although he was brought back to health some days ago, he was too tired these days, and now his old disease has recurred. It can take more than 1 year or less than half a year to recover. Lu Zheng had already had a pulse for Yin Xuan. At the moment, he saw flowers coming from the street of Yin Beiqing. He told them about his illness one by one. The eyebrows on the street suddenly twisted. Ibao Rongdi's condition now. I'm afraid it won't last for half a month. The emperor can't hang in the air all the year round. I'll see. Mo Shanghua pinched the palm of her hand and walked towards the inner room. Yin Xuan is still in a coma at the moment. He has a pretty face that is as warm as jade. At the moment, he is pale and almost dead. His forehead is sweating slightly and his brow is frowning. He seems to be in a nightmare. You can't wake up at will in the nightmare. The flower on the street thinks about it a little. Without much attention, she directly pulls his wrist to feel his pulse. Repeated diagnosis of several times, and Lu Zheng said the results are almost the same. Yin Xuan's body, in addition to the root cause of the disease, is the perennial use of adverse drugs in the body. The damage caused by the body is lifelong. If you do nothing, just rest for 2 or 3 years, maybe you can recover. However, he was born in the royal identity. He is doomed to live in peace. Ow! Yin Beiqing's low voice sounded behind the flowers on the street. Flowers on the road, lips light pursed, silent. As he was about to pull out his hand between Yin Xuan's wrists and get up to leave, Yin Xuan closed his eyes tightly, and his pale lips spat out very light words. Qian, you're back, Qian. Don't mention the flowers on the street. Yin Beiqing's face turned black in an instant. He forcefully broke Yin Xuan's hand and took back his wife's hand. Never thought. This action is like stimulation to the sleepy Yin Xuan. He suddenly opened his eyes. The first one that came into view was the beautiful cheek of Mo Shanghua. He said subconsciously, Qian. Yin Beiqing directly pulled Mo Shanghua behind him, and then he faced Yin Xuan with a smile. Brother Shizen Wang is not sleeping. How can you look at your sister-in-law's nonsense? All things, as long as it's about Mo Shanghua, Yin Beiqing is extremely concerned. If Yin Xuan is poured down by a basin of cold water, all his limbs and bones are cold. There is a touch of melancholy in his eyes, and the bright eyes restore the dead silence. I'm confused. I'm sorry, Sister Huang. Yin Xuan forced himself to smile apologetically, and his pale lip spoke softly. Just 2 words, then I coughed uncontrollably. Busy with a waiter to pass a glass of warm water. Carefully he picked up. Yin Xuan took the warm water, but he didn't drink it. After a long sleep, his lips dried up and his voice was hoarse, but he still kept up his spirits. I didn't mean to. I just fell into a nightmare. Please don't blame me. As for the fact that he had just caught a hand in his sleep, he had no impression at all. Yin Beiqing was still deeply impressed by the situation. A pair of secluded pupils were a little dark inside. He said in a cold voice, even in sleep, you should not touch other people's hands at will. What? Yin Xuan was caught unprepared by Yin Beiqing's words, and his face was at a loss. When speaking, it is to cover chest to cough lightly again. Mo Shanghua only felt that Yin Beiqing was lovely and funny. He quickly pulled him aside and explained casually, "It's not a big deal that you just grabbed your brother's hand when you were in a coma. There's no need to tangle." Clear. Listen to Mo Shanghua unexpectedly. Such explanation. Yin Beiqing eyebrows immediately wrinkled up. "Just want to explain," was her eyes warning stare back. Obediently shut up. Mo Shanghua knows the bitterness in Hua Qianliu's heart, and thanks to the original owner, she naturally won't tangle in such things. She is just afraid that Yin Beiqing will be jealous forever. Yin Sinshuan smells speech, and the heart also didn't doubt. See Yin Beiqing's eyes more sorry. "Sorry, brother. I really don't have what consciousness, if not Huang Sara mind. I just don't know it." Yin North City cold a handsome face, almost from the teeth, out of the two words, "no harm." Mo Shanghua glanced at him helplessly and held his hand quietly to comfort him. Yin Beiqing was as cold as the face thrown into the iceberg. Then he warmed up a little and clenched her hand. Yin Sinshuan Yuguang took a look at the hand they held tightly. He quickly looked away and looked at Lu Zheng. "Dr. Lu Koff, how long have I been in a coma? And how about my body now? How long can I take care of myself?" Lu Zheng heard the speech and pondered for a moment. He still told the truth. At last, he told him, "It's autumn now, and winter is coming soon. If your highness wants to take care of him, he has to pay more attention than before." Yin Sinshuan knew his illness, but he was silent and lowered his eyes slightly. After all, his body is too useless. Yin Sinshuan raised his head and looked at the sticky flower in front of Yin Beiqing. He tried not to fix his eyes on the flower. Just looking at their love, he knew that he had no interest in that position. "I'm sorry, Brother Wu Huang and Sister Huang. My body may delay you." Yin Sinshuan sighed, and the corners of his lips pulled out a radiant of self-mockery. "It's also that I haven't paid attention to my body in this period of time. Otherwise, it won't be like this." Yin Beiqing's eyes were cold and silent, and his emotions were complex. He didn't want to see such unexpected things. "It's not your fault. At the moment, you just need to take good care of yourself. Under such circumstances, your brother and I will deal with everything for the time being." The stranger knew that this matter was extremely difficult, but he still comforted him in a low voice. "It's really impossible. Your brother really had to go that way. This matter should not be regarded as a bad thing." With that, she pulled the corners of her lips and opened her mouth in a relaxed tone. Yin Beiqing only felt the pain in his heart. He held the hand of Mo Shanghua tightly and said in a low voice, "It doesn't matter. There will always be a solution." Seeing this, Yin Sinshuan felt more guilty. He can't do anything. It's useless for him to make such a mistake while waiting. Especially looking at the flower on the street forced to smile, his heart is also a pain. Even if he can only match his sister-in-law day by day, even if he knows that the soul in the body is no longer the original person, how can he look at this familiar face without any fluctuation in his heart? Think of here, his two hands can't help slowly tightening. The brocade is all around by his clenched full of folds. Why did God give him such a body? The flowers on the street seemed to see Yin Sinshuan strange. The thin eyebrows slightly frown. 13 Emperor younger brother. Many things are decided by heaven. Human can't change, but you can change your mood. Don't want to be trapped in it. The place that had dried up and cracked in his heart seemed to be moistened by the sweet spring. Yin Sinshuan slowly loosened his hand and forced out a smile. It was like this. His eyebrows and eyes were still warm and soft, as warm as the spring breeze. Lu Wang came to me just after I came out of the street. Lu Wang has been in the palace for more than 10 years. He always talks with people. When he meets Yin Beiqing, who is being elected by the officials, an old face suddenly smiles like a chrysanthemum. "I've seen your Royal Highness and Princess you." There was no need for Yin Beiqing to disguise himself in front of his eyes. His face was as cool as an ice sculpture. He just nodded his head to show his pardon. Only in the face of flowers, his face will soften down, will be the gentle and considerate, and always try to make her happy husband. However, Mo Shanghua is also a quiet character, and will not speak actively unless necessary. Lu Wing had never seen Yin Beiqing like this before. He thought about it in his heart, and his smile became more brilliant. Your Highness, your Majesty told you to go to Yangxin Palace immediately. This is the new emperor in the future. Naturally, he did not dare to neglect him. It's time to come. Mo Shanghua sighs in her heart, and her eyes are silent. Yin Beicheng took the hand of Mo Shanghua. Thin lips light enunciation. Sun Minister, lead the purpose. Finish saying, then direct, lead Mo Shanghua, stride to leave. Lu Wang looked at Yinbei's city, where he left with great strides in front of him, and sighed incomparably in his heart. The world is changeable. Who would have thought that the son who used to be the most disliked son of Emperor Baorong is now his most outstanding son? On the contrary, he is the candidate for the crown prince expected by the important officials. When Yin Beiqing and Mo Shanghua arrived at Yangxin Hall, they saw the ministers kneeling in front of the hall. Baorong Emperor's body is getting weaker and weaker. He hasn't gone to court for half a month. Yin Xinchuan falls ill again at this time. There are many ways to find out Yin Xinchuan's illness. At this time, I'm afraid all the officials will know. So they all gathered here for one purpose. That is to force Baorong Emperor to establish a crown prince. This matter is of great importance. In addition to the important ministers of the 3rd grade and above, the officials of the 4th and 5th grade also knelt here. Although it's autumn, today's sun is full, and it's in the middle of the day. The officials are wearing heavy official clothes and pipe caps. Naturally, they're extremely hot. They are all sweating, but they still refuse to leave. Among them, some may be loyal officials, others may be people who are at the helm of the wind, or they may want to seek some interest in them. And the most let Mo Shanghua feel false is kneeling in the head of officials Lu Bohan. Hua Qianlu traced the plot with General Chun for Lu Bohan. She knew it for a long time. Now she saw him kneeling here again and asked Baorong Emperor to establish Yinbei's city as the reserve. Isn't it a great irony? It's ridiculous. In my heart, I really hate it. The flower in the street just glances at Lu Bohan and then walks by without paying any attention to her plan. Lu Bohan, however, did not know what kind of mentality he was out of. He raised his head and said in a loud voice, "Princess Yu, please stay." Look, what's the purpose of such a polite tone? The flower on the street keeps on walking with Yin Beicheng. If in the past, Lu Bohan's old face must have been lost. But today, in the presence of civil and military officials, Lu Bohan, a father with an old face, once again called out, "If you have something to talk with Princess Yu, please let her stay." Lu Bohan has always attached great importance to his face, but now he is willing to give up his old face, which gives the stranger a little interest. She would like to see what makes Lu Bohan so willing to face. Thinking of this, Mo Shanghua turned around and said, "What does Lu Xiang have to say?" Lu wanted to get up and talk, but he had been kneeling all morning. He was in his 40s. This morning, his knees were aching and very weak, and he couldn't get up for a moment. Mo Shanghua looks coldly and doesn't have the slightest intention to help. Seeing this, Lu Wing quickly called 2 attendants, one on the left and the other on the right, to help Lu Bohan up. Many of the officials quietly raised their eyes, and they had already made up their mind. It seems that Lu Bohan's father has no weight in the heart of Princess Yu, or perhaps the future queen. Therefore, in order to deal with Lu Bohan, we have to think more about it. How could Lu Bohan not know what was going on in the hearts of all the people? He was also ashamed, but he didn't show any respect on his face. He didn't look like a half-father. "Princess Yu, please move here." Mo Shanghua nodded and was about to step forward, but Yin Beicheng held her hand and gently twisted her eyebrows. There was a little worry in her eyes. What can Lu Bohan do in front of civil and military officials? Mo Shanghua is clear in his heart. He pinches Yin Beicheng's palm and smiles at him, indicating that he can rest assured. Yin North City, this just let go. Oneself then turned round to enter to raise the Heart Temple. Now he is in the Imperial Palace, and Lu Bohan is inconvenient to go far, so he finds a quite open place under the main hall. This kind of emptiness is not afraid that the walls have ears. Mo Shangha naturally understands the deep meaning, which also makes Xinya stand a little far away from Mo Ling, who is always with her now. I heard that the princess is pregnant now. Lu Bohan opened his mouth, but did not express his conjecture directly. Instead, he asked about the body of flowers in the street. Mo Shanghua subconsciously raised her hand and gently stroked her abdomen. She nodded indifferently. Please worry about the Prime Minister. Now, she's really pregnant in March. Lu Bohan's face actually showed a bit of satisfaction, so I will rest assured, did not expect that Lu Bohan's lifetime can also see his grandson was born. The corner of Flower's lips on the street raised a radiant of sarcasm and said impolitely, if what I remember is right, what Lu Xiang cares most about is his declared status. How come now he also thinks of his grandson? Lu Bohan's face froze, but he was a bit ashamed behind him. Qian, I've been thinking about it for a long time. No matter what happened in the past, it's me who's a father. I'm sorry for you. After a pause, he sighed as if he was tens of years old. I'm at this age, and I have few children. Now I just want to be reunited at home. I used to do something wrong. I'm willing to make up for it with everything. As long as you recognize my father, and let your child call me grandfather. Such a sincere and old look. If the original owner, already soft-hearted, immediately will try to forgive this growing old father. But Mo Shanghua and Lu Bohan did not have the slightest feeling. His words only made her feel ironic. Her beautiful face was frozen, and her voice was frozen. Lu Xiang, I've already told you that I am no longer Lu Qian. In a short sentence, it was a response to Lu Bohan. Lu Bohan's old face was completely stiff, and there were millions of long speeches in his stomach. Now he was choked by Sheng and couldn't speak for a moment. Knowing Lu Bohan's intention, Mo Shanghua has no intention to stay and turned around. Stop! Lu Bohan saw the flowers on the road to go, quickly stopped her. Mo Shanghua's steps pause a little, but he doesn't look back. His voice is indifferent. Lu Xianghua still wants to say these sour words to try to move me, so I don't have to say them. I have said that you have been cut off from you for a long time, and there is no connection in the future. Lu Bohan heard the speech, but he didn't care about his old face. He stopped in front of the flower on the street and said, even if it's your mother's face, you should listen to me finish this sentence. The irony in the flower eyes on the street is more intense. I don't know, Lu Xiang can even use dead people as chips now. Lu Bohan felt a little ashamed, but he was soon replaced by a stronger purpose in his heart. Well, you don't recognize my father, but what can I do for my age? After a pause, he said, I'm a father. Please, even if you don't recognize me, you should persuade your Highness King Yu. This time, you must seize the opportunity. Originally, this is the real purpose. Mo Shanghua knows Lu Bohan's purpose in an instant, but he stops on purpose. He has some doubts in his eyes. What's the chance to grasp? What do you mean by that? Lu Bohan finally became interested in Mo Shanghua. He felt a little happy and said in a low voice, naturally, he became the prince while his 13th Highness was seriously ill. Qian, it's not my selfish intention. Just think about it. If he ascends the throne, you will be the queen under one person and above 10,000 people. You will have whatever power, fame, and wealth you want. These are the most beneficial things for you. Fearing that Hua Hui would not agree, Lu Bohan continued to lure him into saying, I'm a prime minister now. If you sit on the queen, what else can I get besides having light on my face? Qian, father, it's all for you, every word, said so true, but the more you listen to the flowers, the colder you feel. He was really a good father who thought about her. He didn't forget to give her advice at this time. Seeing that Mo Shanghua did not speak, Lu Bohan thought that she was moved and continued. The most important thing is that King Yu is devoted to you now, and your life will surely be very smooth in the future. As long as you can recognize your ancestors and return to your ancestors, I will not ask for anything else. You are so righteous. Mo Shanghua couldn't stand Lu Bohan's face and the sarcastic color on her face was no longer covered up. Let me think about how much glory a family can bring to a queen. Lu Bohan's face was stiff. He was about to explain, but he didn't give him a chance at all. He continued to count. For one thing, this family will become a family of relatives, which is also half of the royal family. For these two things, with King Yu's love for me, I can ask for wind and wind, rain and rain. Naturally, this family will also ask for wind and wind. After a pause, the sneer on her lips became more and more intense. Three things, the identity of all the relatives in the family will rise, and marriage should be the best. If I remember correctly, there are children in Lu Bohan's house, not her daughter. Mo Shanghua's lips picked lightly and looked at Lu Bohan with a smile. Lu Xiang, what I said is right. The dirtiest part in my heart was exposed face to face, and the person was still his own daughter, which was particularly unbearable. Lu Bohan's old face was green and white. After a while, he said, "That's it. So what? You are my daughter, so you should be filial." The flower's face on the street suddenly cooled down, and the water eyes seemed to be frozen. Filial piety? When you want to take my life, when you embarrass me in public, when you treat Lu Qianqian as the apple of your eye, why don't you come and tell me that you want me to be filial? After a pause, she pulled out a sneer from the corner of her lips. You are the one who is not qualified to say filial piety in the world. Lu Bohan couldn't bear it any longer. His face was livid, his lips were trembling, and his whiskers on his lips and jaw were shaking, but he couldn't say a word of refutation. Civil and military officials kneel less than 10 meters away from here. If they see such a mood, will they all laugh to death? At the thought of this, Lu Bohan couldn't hang on his face. When Mo Shanghua wanted to turn around and leave, he grabbed her sleeve, shook her beard, and said, "If you don't promise me today, I'll be killed here." There is a stone lion less than 1 meter in front of him. Lu Bohan is fierce at this stone lion. Today, I'm not asking you in the name of your father, but in the name of the Prime Minister of a country. Please take the overall situation into consideration and admonish your Highness King Yu. If it doesn't work, I'll give you my advice. Lu Bohan suddenly raised his voice and looked awe-inspiring. But there was no panic on the flower face on the street, and the radiance of the lips was deeper. The Prime Minister should go and say this to His Majesty. Why do you want to embarrass my wife who can't speak? Seeing this, Lu Bohan simply tried to make a direct impact. Mo Shanghua looks at Lu Bohan, who bumps into the stone lion, and doesn't mean to stop him. At the beginning, Lu Bohan still had some strength. His speed was quite slow. He really ran into Brother Zhuang. He was dizzy and his eyes were full of stars. At the moment, he simply bit his teeth and gave a fight. But the light from the corner of his eye was clearly looking at Mo Ling Qinya, who was standing not far away, wondering if these two people could stop him in time. Before I had time to turn my mind around, I saw that I was about to bump into the hard stone lion. I didn't want to feel a sudden numbness in my armpit. I felt soft all over and fell down. Many ministers not far away have seen this scene. They wanted to come and help them, but Lu Bohan suddenly fell so soft in front of the stone lion. They were all a little strange, but they didn't stop. However, most of them are senior officials, and their legs are not sharp. Well, what's going on? Lu Bohan tried to move, but there was no strength in his whole body, and his face was almost twisted in fear. Mo Shanghua came forward in no hurry, leaned slightly to pull out a silver needle under Lu Bohan's armpit, and said with a smile, "I have said that if you want to die, you can go to your Majesty's presence. It's useless in front of me." Lu Bohan had never seen a stranger spin his hand. At this moment, he realized that Princess Yu was no longer the clever and sensible Lu Qianqian in the past. He was shocked. You for a long time, but still couldn't spit out a word. She was still a little numb and weak. Princess. Qinya and Mo Ling trot over. Qinya glances at Lu Bohan, who is still on the ground, and says, "Princess, are you okay?" Although Mo Ling didn't speak, she also looked warily at Lu Bohan. Mo Shanghua didn't look at Lu Bowen. She took the silver needle back in her sleeve silently and said with a faint smile, "I'm okay." But Lu Xiang accidentally fell. Lu Xiang, who accidentally fell down, was shocked to see that he didn't know how to speak and do anything. Would he still make a scene and let others come to see his jokes? Just at this time, those officials with poor legs also came. Two younger officials helped Lu Bowen to get up and asked about the situation one after another. Naturally, he could not say that he was threatening his daughter to hit a stone lion. Instead, he fell a dog and chewed mud before that, so he had to pull the corner of his lip to cover up the past. It's just an accidental fall. It's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Mo Shanghua looked at him rather cynically, then turned and left directly. In the face of his colleagues' suspicious eyes, Lu Bowen had to tell a lie again. Even though he raised his voice deliberately just now, it was so far away that people didn't hear him clearly, so he could cover up the past by finding a suitable reason. As for Mo Shanghua, after returning to Yangxin Palace, Lu Weng invited him directly to the side hall. There was no shortage of excellent tea and exquisite snacks made by imperial cooks in the palace. Inside the Yangxin Hall, Yin Beiqing entered the hall and saluted mechanically. "My son has seen my father." No gift. Baorong Emperor's body was half resting on the soft pillow, and his voice was weak. However, in just half a month, the pain had withered his tortured face. His face was sallow. The dark shadow under his eyes seemed to be deliberately painted. There were a lot of white hair in his temples. He looked like he was going to be rotten. Yin North City Mao Guang but swept a flash on the face of Treasure Glory Emperor, then avoided sight. Voice calm of didn't have the slightest wave. Father Emperor has what important matter. Perhaps he was on the verge of death. On the contrary, Emperor Baorong was not as angry as he had been a few days ago. He said casually, "Those concubines and sons, even if they have no me in their hearts, they have to cry. You are true. I look like this, but they are not making a scene." Yin Beiqing's ice-sculptured face didn't fluctuate because of this sentence. He stood upright and said, "I've done enough for the first half of my life." The decrees on Emperor Baorong's forehead were almost conglutinated, and the ravines were very deep. Yin Beiqing looked at him coldly, and his words were also cold. "For me, it's half my life." Which of those painful memories should have happened at his age? Therefore, he always thought that his miserable days were half of his life. Baorong Emperor was silent. After a long time, he said slowly, "I'm really ashamed of your mother. I can wash away the grievances for your mother, and I can also rectify the name of your mother's family and pursue the strong name of the wind." Yin Beiqing's cold and hard eyebrows had some fluctuations, and his lips pulled out a sarcastic radiance. "No, I just want to leave here as soon as possible and live a peaceful life." Emperor Baorong's eyes wandered over the face of the demons in Yanbei City and said in a low voice, "You look like your mother and concubine now." After a pause, he continued, "Your disguise for so many years is to inherit my position one day? Why do you have to shirk from me now? I hope you understand that I want you to come for the sake of the country and the people of the country. Xian'er's health is not good. If I rashly pass the throne to Xian'er, it will only be a few years, and his illness will come down again and again. At that time, the kingdom of God will be in chaos. Even if you become a vassal then, where can you go easily and freely?" Baorong Emperor, who has been in power for half his life, had ever spoken to any prince so seriously. At this time, Yu Beicheng spoke like this, which is also an account to the royal family and the kingdom before he was dying. Yin Beicheng's face was not a bit relaxed, and his thin lips sparked a radiance of self-mockery. "So, if it wasn't for the body of the 13 emperor's younger brother, you would never consider me?" In response to Yin Beicheng, there was a long silence. "No matter what, you can give up on this matter. I've never thought about your position. There are so many princes in your family that you don't need me." Yin Beicheng pressed down and felt a little emotion in his heart. He opened his mouth without expression. Emperor Baorong suddenly coughed violently until he coughed up the phlegm in his throat. Then he pointed to Yin Beicheng and said, Don't you see the civil and military officials outside the door? They've been kneeling here all morning. It's not that I'm forcing you. It's that they're forcing me." Yin Beicheng didn't want to say one more word to the so-called father in front of him. He turned around and left. "Well, since you don't want to, that's all I can do." Baorong Emperor suddenly leaned back and spoke with a gloomy face. "Yin North City, this just raised an eye. In the heart abruptly rises a very ominous premonition. What do you mean by this?" Baorondi just covered his lips and coughed, but did not rush to explain. In the side hall of Yanshan Hall at that time, the situation of Mo Shanghua, who had been well served by Lu Wang, suddenly changed. At this time, a group of imperial guards swarmed into the hall and directly surrounded the flowers on the street. The leader is Zhao Wei, who is now more valued by Emperor Baorong. Before Qinya could swallow the cake, she almost choked herself to death, anxious and confused. Mo Ling once clenched the scabbard of a long sword in his hand and patted Qinya gently with a wooden half-forehead dragon on one side. Mo Shanghua couldn't drink tea, but he just played with it in his hand. He didn't panic when he saw this situation. He put down the teacup and looked straight at Zhao Wei. What does General Zhao mean by this? After all, he once cooperated with Zhao Wei. Zhao Wei still appreciates the flowers in front of him, but now he has to face each other with swords. He can't bear it, but he was soon replaced by the military order in his heart, saying, "Your Majesty has an order. If King Yu disobeys the order, he will detain Princess Yu temporarily." As soon as the words came to an end, 2 imperial guards were about to come forward. Qinya tried to swallow the cake stuck in her throat. She quickly blocked the flower in front of her. "Your princess is pregnant now. Who dares to move? If you hurt your grandson, you can't protect your head." Mo Ling came forward with his sword, and his eyes were filled with a sense of killing. It's Yin Beicheng's order to follow Mo Shanghua to protect him, although he has some ideas of his own. In any case, he must protect the safety of the princess and Qinya. Zhao Wei hurriedly raised his hand, ordered people to stop for a while, and then looked at the flowers on the street. "Please don't ask the princess to help me. I thought that the character of Mo Shanghua would be very difficult, but I didn't expect that she didn't even have a trace of resistance." She stood up straight and said, "Let's go." Zhao Wei has not had time to relax, but the steps of flowers suddenly stopped, turned his eyes, and looked at Mo Ling. "Mo Ling, my medicine should still be with the Lord, so you wait for him here. When he comes, let him send it to me." "Princess, I'm afraid it's impossible." Zhao Wei frowned, embarrassed. Mo Shanghua stroked her abdomen and said, "My baby is less than 3 months old now. It's the most unstable time for the fetus. If you don't take medicine on time, you will be in danger of sliding at any time. If something happens, I'm afraid none of you can afford it." Zhao Wei thought for a moment and gave an excellent answer. "There are royal doctors in the palace. You can rest assured that they will treat you later. I'm afraid the whole imperial hospital in this palace is not as good as ours." Mo Shanghua, who had always been modest, was arrogant. He was as dazzling as a phoenix. "Besides, my constitution is special. The medicine prescribed by quack doctors has no effect on me. I have to use it myself." Zhao Wei wanted to find out some words to refute, but Mo Shanghua was indeed recognized as a miracle doctor in the palace, and she even saved Baorong Emperor's life. In her eyes, those imperial doctors were not quacks. According to the princess, Zhao Wei gritted his teeth and ordered people to get out of the way. At the moment, he was surrounded by so many imperial guards, but he was not nervous. He was not shy about his words. He said to Mo Ling directly, "Tell the Lord that no one will do anything to me. He could do whatever he wants." Said, she covered his belly, hook lip smile, "This little thing but my life card." Mo Ling bowed his head to answer and looked at Qinya again. His eyes showed a little reluctant. After a while, his face turned red. Then he said, "Please take care of Qinya." With that, he ran away in a hurry. Chinya's tender little face turned red. She retorted in a low voice, "It's a piece of wood. The princess is the master. How can a master take care of the maidservant?" Mo Shanghua's lips were hooked. He laughed in a good mood and said in a high voice, "Yes, I will help you take good care of Chinya." Chinya's cheek was as red as a cooked red shrimp. Mo Shanghua touched her face with a smile and sighed solemnly. "It's so hot that it's time to make a small stove in winter." Since Duzhong had this little guy, Mo Shanghua's mood seems to be very different from usual. No matter what happened in the past, she was always calm, but now she has learned to make fun of it. And these are with Yin Beicheng together, under the influence of slowly change, maybe even she didn't realize. It was Zhao Wei who was so optimistic when he saw that he was going to be imprisoned. He was quite puzzled. Could it be a good thing or not? Facts have proved that it is not a bad thing. Mo Shanghua is very likely to be the empress in the future. No one dares to neglect her because she has a dragon fetus in her belly. She is imprisoned, but she can't pass the test in a palace in the palace. She ordered the guards to guard outside the palace, ate and drank well, and enjoyed imperial food in the palace. Although Mo Shanghua pursues pleasure and pain, Yin Beicheng is not in such a good mood. Especially when Mo Ling told the news that Yin Beicheng had been taken away by Zhao Wei. His cold eyebrows suddenly surged into a tyranny, his hands tightly clenched into fists. Looking at Baorong Emperor's eyes as if he were looking at an enemy, he almost squeezed the words from his teeth. "You are threatening me like this." Baorong Emperor had never seen a man's momentum reach such a level. His eyes flashed, and his voice was still so powerless. "I have already said that as a prince, you must fulfill your duties as a prince. If you don't want to, I have some ways to force you to obey. I hear your princess is still pregnant." As he spoke, he covered his mouth with a handkerchief and coughed. As expected, the handkerchief was stained with blood, but he kneaded the handkerchief into a ball and couldn't see it. Ningxia Master once said to me that Princess Yu's life is beyond words. Now it seems that she's going to be the queen of our kingdom of God. Why don't you want her daughter to be the most noble position? Mother Etienne, do you want to have a drink? That position is so precious to you, it's worthless in my heart. Yin Beicheng stares at Baorong Emperor tightly, showing a sense of killing in his eyes. You just say whether to let people go or not. At the moment, he is full of cruel and murderous intention, and seems to be able to explode at any time, taking people's lives in the invisible. The evil and handsome face does not affect his momentum at all. After several decades in power, Emperor Baorong felt a bit of retreat for the first time, but it was still his son. Naturally, he didn't want to admit it. He covered his mouth angrily and coughed violently. Seeing his posture of coughing to death at any time, Yinbei City was still pressing forward step by step, and there seemed to be a storm gathering slowly in his eyes. Do you want to let people go or not? Son of a bitch. Emperor Baorong angrily threw down his brocade handkerchief and trembled violently. How dare you talk to me like this? Yin Beicheng's eyes were red and his forehead was blue. He said almost every word. I only tell you that Mo is my life. If she has any damage, don't mention the throne. I will only let the whole kingdom of God bury her with her. With that, he turned around and walked away. His momentum gradually dissipated with his departure. You son of a bitch. Baorong Emperor trembled to say such a sentence. His head sank and he fainted again. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Lu Wang, who had just come from Yin Beicheng with his tail between his legs, saw that Emperor Baorong had fainted again and cried eagerly, Tai Tai. What? My father arrested my sister-in-law. Yin Sichuan hard to support the body to sit up. The pale face shows his weakness. Don't get excited. Lu Zheng quickly pressed Yin Sichuan and asked him to lie down first. Your Majesty just imprisoned Princess Yu in the palace and didn't treat her badly. Now the princess is safe, but the prince's mood is not good. Mo Shanghua was once treated as a good friend by Lu Zheng. Thinking of the plight of his good friend in the past, Lu Zheng also had a headache and worried. The ministers knelt down in front of the Yangxin Hall to force him. Presumably, His Majesty has no way, so he can only use this method to force His Royal Highness you to submit. Yin Xinchuan smells speech, thin lips tightly pursed into a straight line, eyes remorse, a burst of guilt hit. In the final analysis, or because of my body, just let the emperor brother and sister-in-law suffer these. After a pause, he lowered his voice a little and said in a soft voice, I heard that Huang Sa is pregnant now. Lu Zheng nodded slightly and said, It's been more than 2 months. It's nearly March. At this point, he could not help but wring his eyebrows, rather worried. Before March, it is the most unstable time of fetal appearance. If you are too emotional during this period, it may lead to miscarriage at any time. When cough, really? Yin Xinchuan still can't help but sit up reluctantly, a little emotional. Why is your highness so worried? Lu Zheng's brow tightened, and he thought a little. Yin Xinchuan eyes some unnatural turned his head, immediately began to explain. Huang Sa is because I was locked up. I naturally worry. In fact, he has long been open to the thoughts of Mo Shanghua. Today's worries are not only because of Mo Shanghua's body, but also because of her kindness to him. However, even so, he always felt guilty in his heart. He thought that he could not forget Lu Qianqian in the past. He was afraid that this kind of behavior would make the flowers on the street be criticized by others. However, he will not explain too much, otherwise, I am afraid it will be more and more black. Lu Zheng's ability to travel in the palace these days depends on not only his medical skills, but also Yin Xinchuan's eyes. Seeing that Lu Zheng was not asking, Yin Xinchuan said in a low voice, Dr. Lu, tell me the truth. How many years can I live with you now? Such a heavy problem. Lu Zheng cannot help but silence for a moment, then slowly said, If you can take good care of it, at most there are still 10 years. 10 years. Yin Xinchuan's pale lip gently chewed these 2 words, and the corner of his lip finally pulled out a smile. The smile was rather desolate. I'm not too young now. Thank you, Dr. Lu. Even if he lived for 10 years, he was less than 30 years old. However, he was satisfied. Lu Zheng has been a doctor for several years. He has been used to life, old age, illness, and death for a long time. Now, when he sees Yin Xinchuan's mood, he is quite touched and says, Your Highness, don't be deliberate. The doctor is kind-hearted. This is my duty. If your Highness wants to take good care of himself, I will do my best. Yin Xinchuan gently shook his head, and for a moment, he raised his eyes and looked at Lu Zheng. Dr. Lu, what can you do to make my body recover quickly now? After a pause, his eyes flashed a touch of determination. Or what kind of prescription can be, you don't have to worry, you just say. Lu Zheng's eyes were complex, looking at the man with a firm face and a pale face. After a long time, I heard him slowly say yes. Mo Shanghua is sitting in the palace. There's a maid in waiting to offer a fruit drink. The respectful one can't be respectful. Princess, please check this. I know you can't drink tea, so I specially offer this thing. Then he pointed to the pastries beside him. These are just from the imperial dining room. Please try them quickly. Do you like them? I'm kidding. Although this one is temporarily imprisoned here, in the end, it's not to force the superior to be the emperor. In any case, the present one cannot be ignored. What's more, all the expenses of the harem are now decided by the lady. These are all ordered by the lady. Who dares to be disrespectful? You go out first. Mo Shanghua glanced at the cake on the table and didn't move. Just now, the respectful maidservant was embarrassed. It's not that the maidservant doesn't want to reply to the princess. It's just that your majesty has ordered that the maidservant stay here and don't leave. The girl in front of her turned her eyes and said faintly, It seems that I'm very important. I'm just a little princess. There are more than a dozen people just waiting on me. In addition to these palace maids, there are some quiet women who have great strength at first sight. Qinya glanced at the maid angrily and said in a small voice, What kind of service is surveillance? Although the voice was small, the maid of honor was close in front of her. Naturally, she could hear it clearly. With an embarrassed smile on her face, she stepped aside and said, "Princess, please use it slowly." Imo Shanghua stood up and walked slowly towards the outside of the hall, and all the maids followed. She is not angry. Continue to walk slowly and leisurely toward the direction of the main door inside the hall. A group of maids did not stop them, but followed them step by step. He was satisfied with the silence. Instead of saying more, Chinya was annoyed by a group of headless flies. "Princess, they follow us like this. I'm afraid you don't have a chance to do anything." She quickly shortened the distance with the flowers on the street and whispered in her ear. The flower eyebrow eyes on Imo don't move, light way, that then temporarily don't walk. In fact, if she wants to go, there are many ways. But the law in the palace was too strict. If she escaped like this and was used by someone with a heart, she would be charged and forced to force Yin Beicheng. Then it would not be like this. The emperor is on the verge of decay now, and they are biting their teeth to disagree. How can he survive these young people? Think of here, more and more calm on the flower face. Chinya flat mouth, quite a bit don't understand. "Princess, what do you do this for?" Imo Shanghua didn't explain. She kept walking at her feet. "You can't go out, but the scenery of Chuxiu Palace is also good. People are waiting for us every day. We just enjoy it. When the time comes, someone will let us out." In the meantime, I arrived at the main entrance of the palace. The vermilion gate stands high in front of us. The flower on the street suddenly turns around and faces the ladies in waiting. The ladies in waiting were thinking that it must be the master who wanted them to let her out. Never thought. Imo Shanghua just glanced at them and said, "I want to have a rest here for a while." After a pause, he said, "Remember to prepare one more chair." Although the maids felt strange about the request, they were all relieved and immediately answered with a smile. But in a short time, the maids moved 2 royal chairs, a small one, and all the fruit drinks and cakes that had just been put in the room. More than that, there are 2 maids holding umbrellas to shade the flowers on the street. The flowers on the street are not suitable. They're told to take away their umbrellas and stand far away. As for Chinya, she looked at the imperial concubine chair in front of her, then looked at the flower on the street, which was already sitting safely and half lying down. "Princess, this maidservant. How can maidservant sit again?" With that, she glanced at the waiting maids not far away. She always felt that she should be the same as them. Seeing this, Imo Shanghua got up and squeezed a piece of cake in her mouth, with a light smile on her lips. "If you lose your freedom here with me, you should be rewarded." Chinya almost choked and tried to swallow the cake. The sweet and greasy taste beat the embarrassment in her heart. She said with a smile, "Thank you, princess." Then he sat down impolitely, squeezed a piece of cake, and stuffed it into his mouth. His eyes suddenly lit up and his face was full of happiness. I kept sighing in my heart that the cakes made by the imperial chef in the palace were different, and they were so delicious. A group of maids standing at a distance saw this scene, and their envious eyes were red. They could not help but began to imagine whether this would be so good to them if she really became a queen in the future. Mo Shanghua is peaceful here, but Yanbei's city is another scene. With a cruel face, he came from a Yangxin palace and passed directly under the different eyes of the officials. In addition, Emperor Baorong fainted, which caused a lot of trouble in the palace. Everyone was in a mess. Yin Beicheng has no mind to manage these. What he is full of now is the flowers on the street. Simply Mo Ling is quite intelligent. After being sent out by Imo Shanghua, she doesn't report immediately. Instead, she follows quietly to see which palace Missouri Shanghua is locked in. As a result, after Yin Beicheng left the Yangxin Palace, he went directly to Chuxiu Palace, which attracted many maids' attention. There are those who are afraid, and those who can't avoid them. Unexpectedly, some palace maids secretly look at the appearance of Yin Beicheng. Although the momentum is shocking, the face is really beautiful without the birthmark. Even the women have to feel inferior to themselves and inadvertently plunder the hearts of many palace maids. Yin Beicheng didn't notice anyone's expression. He had only one goal at the moment. He had to see the flowers on the street to confirm his safety. The imperial palace is so large that it took Yinbei City a long time to get to the gate of Chushio Palace. As expected, the whole Chushio Palace is surrounded by the imperial guards at the moment. Even the flies don't want to fly in if the iron bucket doesn't show a drop of water. The maids in the palace all avoid passing by. What's more incredible is that Zhao Weiguwei, a general in charge of half of the imperial guards, stood here to guard himself. As soon as he saw Yin Beicheng coming fiercely, he immediately stopped him, folded his fist, and bowed his body. "Your Highness, stop. I have issued an imperial edict. No one is allowed to get near here." Yin Beicheng just hit a bit of tyranny and suddenly wantonly emerged. A pair of eyes full of towering storm crossed Zhao Wei and fell in front of the closed vermilion gate. "Who dares to stop me when I want to see my princess?" Yin Beicheng's whole body's tyrannical, imposing manner. Only let the person see, then the heart take. Zhao Wei stepped forward under pressure and tried to keep his face unchanged. He said, "Your Highness, if you don't have your Majesty's imperial edict, you will not dare to profane your position. Please stop your anger." How could Yin Beicheng listen? He was so anxious that he couldn't calm down and think when he thought that Mo Shanghua, who was pregnant, had been taken as a threat by Emperor Baro. "Let's go." Yin Beicheng's eyes flashed a sense of obliteration, and his voice was cold to the bone. Zhao Wei already felt Yin Beicheng's intention to kill him, but he still didn't give up. "If your Highness wants to break through, please forgive me for being rude. Yin Beicheng's identity is no better than others." At the moment, Zhao Wei is in the same state of mind as before. He only acts impartially. As soon as the words fell, all the imperial guards surrounded Yin Beicheng, and a sharp spear pointed at him. The phoenix eyes of Yinbei City are congested, and the killing intention is rampant in his heart. What he is thinking about is the flowers on the street, which are separated by only one door. Just at this time, the vermilion gate slowly opened, and a thin and straight woman appeared at the palace gate against the light. Yin Beicheng's angry eyes dissipated in an instant. A pair of Phoenix's eyes almost stuck to Mo Shanghua. "Mo, how are you? Do they have any trouble for you?" When he said these words, he didn't think at all. When he said these words, he followed his own heart. He crossed Zhao Wei directly forward, pulled the flowers on the street, holding her hand to see left and right, for fear that were the slightest damage. Zhao Wei didn't expect that the door would be opened suddenly, so he didn't have time to stop it. Looking at the two guards guarding at the door, he said angrily, "Who let you open the door?" The guard quickly knelt down. "The princess said that her abdominal pain was unbearable, so I opened the door." These two guards were in charge of guarding the gate of Chushio Palace. Zhao Wei didn't check for a while. Thinking of this, he felt remorseful. But when he saw the two men's situation, he even bit his teeth and said, "The prince and the princess have something to say quickly." After a long time, the general can't explain it. "After all, we have fought side by side. There is always some friendship." The flowers on the street smile at him to show their gratitude. "Thank you for your trouble, General Zhao." Yin Beicheng CMO Shanghua's eyes are a bit more sour. "Don't look at other men smile. Voice down, and think of the flowers on the street, closed for so a while. The heart must be very unhappy." Will she into his arms? "I'm not good. We'll let you suffer such grievances. Fortunately, you're okay." Mo Shanghua let him hold a hand consciousness to protect his belly. "You don't worry, my father didn't let people treat me harshly. I eat, live, and travel inside are also very good." After a pause, she separated a little, lowered her voice, and said seriously, "My father will never do anything to me at this juncture, not to mention you and the 13 Emperor's younger brother. Other princes can't bear the heavy responsibilities, and my father will certainly let them inherit. I'll stay in this palace for a few days, and you'll be at ease. You don't have to pay attention to other things. You don't have to agree. I'll be fine." Yin Beicheng's thin lips were tightly stretched into a straight line, and his eyes were full of gloom. "How can I let you be imprisoned here? No, I must take you today, and then we'll go back to Yuzhou directly." We'll ignore everything about the imperial city in the future. Mo Shanghua didn't expect that Yin Beicheng would be so confused in such a big event. He pinched the back of his hand with some strength on purpose. Are you dizzy? That's the best policy. If you go back like this, do you think other princes can still sit? In the past, Yin Moli and Empress Lin were pressing on, and all the princes were obedient and helpless. At this time, if Yin Beicheng suddenly left, the imperial city would be in chaos. Thinking of this, Mo Shanghua said, "The chaos of the imperial city will not be good for everyone. If you find an opportunity in Chun Kingdom, you and I will never have a better life. Yinbei City, the child in my belly can't stand the ups and downs. I just want to live a quiet life." Yin Beicheng closed his eyes, his thick, long eyelashes trembled gently, and his hands tightly held the hand of Mo Shanghua, struggling in his heart. He can't bear to leave the flowers alone here. This imperial palace has always been a place where people eat without spitting bones. If you are not careful, you will be doomed. Mo Shanghua unnaturally understood his difficulties, took his hand and covered it in his belly, and pulled his lips with a smile. "I'll do it for him. Don't worry. Besides, no one really treats me harshly. I'm served very carefully. When you come to pick me up, I'm afraid I'll be fat." Yin Beicheng didn't speak. He caressed her flat abdomen with his palm, and his eyes were complex and uncertain. After a while, he pulled the flowers on the street again, hugged them tightly, and said in a soft voice, "I'll pick you up soon." With that, he turned away without looking back. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he's afraid that when he looks back, he'll have some impulse in his heart. It's hard for him to be rational when it comes to flowers. Zhao Wei sees this. This just orders a person to prohibit Gar to stand again, then go up to front to spend on the MO, to bow a hand slightly. "Princess, please go back." Mo Shanghua nodded slightly. She turned around and went back to the palace. Mo Ling didn't leave, but also entered the palace with her. Emperor Baorong fainted again. Lu Zheng treated him many times before, so he was called into the palace. After another treatment, Emperor Baorong came back to life, but his spirit was even more depressed. It was clear that he always rested and slept these days, but now he was full of green shadows. The first thing he did when he woke up was to ask Lu Zheng, "How long do I have now?" If it is the royal doctor beside, he must kneel down in fear and call for your majesty's long live. But Lu Zheng never disdains to say these false words. He lowered his eyes and said, "According to your majesty's present state, at most. Half a month." Baorong Emperor heard the speech, and suddenly he coughed violently, as if he was going to cough up his heart and lungs. "Bold! How dare you curse your majesty on the one hand?" Lu Wang was happy for Baorong Emperor. On the other hand, he was angry. Lu Zheng glanced at Lu Wang and said, "I'm just telling the truth. I don't mean to curse you." Lu Wang seemed to say something. Baorong Emperor immediately raised his hand to stop him. His face was tired. "Are the ministers still in front of the hall now?" Lu Wang immediately respectfully replied, "Report to your majesty. The court officials heard that your body fainted. They are more reluctant to leave. One by one are anxious. Call them in." Baorong Emperor said slowly. Since Emperor Baorong summoned him, Lu Bohan had a lot of thoughts. It happened that he met the third prince head-on at this time. "No, it should be Kingen now." Then he gathered his mind and saluted him a little. "I've seen your highness, Kingen." Although Kingen was timid and stupid, he was respectful when he saw Lu Bohan. The prime minister doesn't have to be polite. I dare to ask the prime minister, but he came out of the Yangshin Hall. "Have you met his father?" You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.